Since the beginning of civilization, humankind has sought to reconstruct our past through storytelling. Today, historians and mythicists look backward in order to better understand where we came from. This past-peaking methodology has missed something huge, however. By myopically focusing on events and stories that have already occurred, we have become blinded. And this is a great tragedy to mankind's epic progress to achieve incredible technology and epic hardcore science, which I freaking love. Despite science lovers now occupying over 90% of the population, almost all of them have carelessly tossed aside and ignored the science at our hands today. I'm speaking, of course, about knowledge of the future. Today, we take a closer look at one of the richest and most intriguing eons in human history: the future. For millions of years, we humans were prisoners to the past. It wasn't until this century that we discovered a way to look forward into what will have already happened at a later date. So before we look forward, let's look backward one last time. In July 1981, Rudolf Weissman, an astronomer in Lucerne, Switzerland, saw something in the night sky. It was a dim dot on the horizon which seemed to move in lockstep with a low-orbiting satellite. After some further observation, Weissman and his team discovered that the object was a perfect metallic cube, about the size of a small compact car, which had seemingly appeared in Earth's orbit out of nowhere. It was too perfectly shaped, and its orbital velocity was too constant to be natural. NASA quickly corroborated similar findings of the object, now named the Weissman Cube, and drew up mission plans to retrieve it, dubbing the mission Operation Box Grab. At the time, it was believed that the object was perhaps a Soviet satellite or weapons system gone astray, and the United States Department of Defense quickly inserted themselves into the operation. Operation Box Grab was the first covert space exploration mission ever carried out by the United States on August 17, 1981. Unbeknownst to the public, a group of 6 astronauts were sent into orbit to examine and retrieve the Weissman Cube. That day, President Reagan watched a live feed of the retrieval at the White House and waited with bated breath as the astronauts first rendezvoused with, then loaded the 6-ton cube into their ship. Re-entering the Earth's atmosphere was almost catastrophic, as the added weight of the object made it nearly impossible for the box grab crew to navigate the ship safely into the Pacific Ocean.
Family to CFCC. All right, crew, did we get verification? Can you egress at this time?
But seconds before catastrophic failure, pilot Bang Thomas successfully maneuvered the ship to a safe landing trajectory. The box was immediately analyzed by military officials at sea aboard the USS Independence en route back to San Diego. Before the ship could reach port, the box had opened itself, revealing several hundred books, CDs, and CD players, which was technology that renowned company Sony had only recently patented. For 20 years, the contents of the cube remained totally private outside the NSA until 2001, when Dr. Weissman was called in to examine it closer with the help of an elite team of scientists which he organized from around the globe. What was inside shocked Weissman and his team. Laid out in clear detail were world events, complete with exact dates and names from the earliest recorded human history to several hundred years into the future. It appeared to be some sort of time capsule somehow sent into the past. Weissman and his team found that without a doubt, the box had been produced in the year 2240 and had been somehow fired at the speed of light towards Alpha Centauri, the nearest star to Earth. Weissman and his team surmised that the box had arrived at the star system about 4 years later, in 2244, but was somehow immediately teleported back into Earth's orbit and into the year 1981. The contents of the box consisted of hundreds of books containing Earth events and history up to the 23rd century, and CDs with video and audio depicting those events. In all, over 10,000 hours of video and audio were contained within them. Skeptical that the information was some sort of hoax, Weissman studied the books and archived the data on the CDs in order to follow along and see if their information came to pass. He and his team spent the next 20 years matching up the various events listed in the box and how the world unfolded in real time. To their shock and amazement, the books and CDs perfectly laid out every world event and historical fact in real time. Weissman finally made plans to make the information public against the wishes of the NSA, and in January 2021, a dead man's switch was activated, making all information inside the Weissman Cube public after Weissman and his entire team of scientists were found dead on a merry-go-round in Bogota, Colombia, apparently dying of nausea during a group holiday office party trip. The box's huge number of text, video, and audio files are now available in full at boxanswers.com, which is now totally blocked in many countries and redirects to a DNS error page. Luckily, Skeleton Realm was able to download the entire contents of the site mere seconds after it went online, and I've spent hundreds of hours analyzing the rich information. After tedious inspection of the future, one thing has become clear. Humanity's epic space love and love for science and hardcore beautiful science belief is super incredibly epic and freaking cool. We have a ton to look forward to in the next several hundred years. And this is because space is just that epic. And guess what? Yeah, we're going to space. But first, let me talk about something really sweet that will happen in March of 2022. Soon after the release of this video, Mimo TV will release an insanely epic new service on their streaming website soon that will change the game forever and is a running theme to the future. It's hard to overstate the effect of this incredible new product offering from Mimo TV. Literally everyone is obsessed with Mimo TV in the future, and Mimo TV's soon-to-be brand new triple play classic service is a staple for hundreds of years after it's released. Okay, let's get into what Mimo TV's Triple Play Classic is. Triple Play Classic is a super epic way to enjoy streaming your favorite Mimo TV specials, movies, and commercials, and playing your favorite Mimo TV games. But that's not all. You can also stream yourself using Mimo TV's brand new Stream Me streaming style. Okay, I'll slow down a bit. Yes, you heard me right. There is one website you will soon be able to not only watch and play on, but stream yourself onto, all in one easy-to-use and beautiful seamless window in your preferred browser? I think we're all pretty familiar with how to watch our favorite Mimo TV shows and play our favorite Mimo TV games, so I'll skip the tutorial on that. But you might be wondering, what's this new Stream Me thing you're talking about? Well, I don't want to spoil the big surprise that Mimo TV is planning in March, but I can say this. Imagine being able to watch yourself stream. The most exciting aspect of the information held inside the cube is the fact that soon after the year 2030, humanity made the great leap into space colonization. First colonizing Mars, then setting up orbital space stations around various planets and moons within the solar system for awesome humans to inhabit. But before we continue, I have to ask, are you an awesome human? Let's go. The Weissman Cube has revealed so much to us as we approach our Apex A Historia, also known as the Epic Year, which is the year our recorded history and the time test held within the Weissman Cube coincided, revealing our shared time plane. Yes, we call this year 2022, but to the epic beings who found and returned our cube, we say, thank you! So what really made us into epic children of the stars? It took humanity 45 years of studying the cube to break the Weissman paradox, and once we did, there was a torrent of information we simply were not ready for. No one had ever seen, let alone thought, of the type of data on the disks. But here they were. Millions of terabytes of photos, videos, phone calls, geopolitical events, and text posts were unleashed, each one revealing a strange new aspect of the future. The entirety of Earth's intellectuals were tasked with organizing and internalizing this new stream of information. Within 5 years, humanity would be making good on its long-promised pre-cube mission, the colonization of Mars. Humanity's century on Mars was made up of massive discoveries in the sciences, and despite the losses described within the cube, it was worth it. We colonized Mars in 2045, and we started with big, epic ideas. But with or without the Weissman Cube, a human visionary needed to come forward. Garrett Gruner, known to us today as CEO of AskJeeves.com, looked to the cosmos for inspiration. Being one of the first 6 to view the contents of the Weissman Cube, his intentions were forever changed. In 2022, he held a private launch of 6 passenger rockets towards an unremarkable spot on Mars. By 2046, that empty landing spot would be filled with networks of metal air domes, biopods, cryo chambers, cell chargers, geothermal power stations, and even feed pods, where humanity's answer to scarcity would find its long-due resting place. Oh, and let's not forget, Mimo TV Computer Labs, where colonists can watch their favorite Mimo TV shows, play their favorite Mimo TV games, and watch themselves stream. The first colonists on Mars to stay for over 1 year were members of Garrett Gruner Jr.'s Jeeve team, and built the framework for what would become humanity's second home. This small group spent 20 years building a humble sprawl of pods occupied by a diverse set of scientists and pilots totaling 74 members. This generation of colonists would ultimately need to be replaced, as their bone marrow was found to settle at a different consistency than it did on their epic Earth, which led to an outbreak of blood clots among the colonists. Their replacements wore extremely heavy boots and gloves to promote circulation, and were right back to work. One thing that is super noticeable about this period of epic Mars habitation, everyone was having a ton of fun. But not just your average everyday Joe fecal pumpers deep within the colony's underground bowels. No, there was also a slurry of intellectual genius, super hyper-qualified philosopher, science, Harvard intellectual scholars stationed on the planet who wrote tons of epic books during their stays and trips to Mars as well. One such epic individual was Kylie Johnson, a 35-year-old intellectual scholar who wrote perhaps the most well-known account of Mars living in the early 2050s.
Darkness, cold, that is all I feel. And for what? For what great purpose does this incessant human urge to spread serve? The vacuum of space separates me from my home, the place where my body was designed to breathe, eat, sleep, love. I only find solace in logging into my Mimo TV account and using their triple play classic service. Kylie Johnson.
Jalen Braden Oliver Noah Liam Smith, another freaking genius philosopher, poet, king, scientist who stayed on the colony for several years, gives us a clear and awesome depiction of what life was like there in his magnum opus, The Dark Place, a super fun book about his epic Mars experience.
And when assigned work is finished, there is nothing but more tasks. No time to rest. There is always an air vent to repair or a pipe to fix. I've grown tired, not just of the cold and the darkness. I can still hear my son's giggling, his cries for Papa. And my wife, her smile still haunts me, often appearing in the corner of my eye, flickering, her head turning towards me for a brief moment, then disappearing back into the ether. I will never forget the explosion. I only find solace in logging into my Mimo TV account and using their triple play classic service. Jalen, Bryden, Oliver, Noah, Liam, Smith.
Perhaps the most succinct and epic quote of this period, which highlights just how epic and massive our universe is, comes from the famous genius scientist of the day, Mr. Roy.
Space is big. Mr. Roy.
This epic quote has become something of a mantra in the future, often worn on t-shirts and plastered above doorways on the Mars colony, as well as on Earth. Sadly, the first human project on Mars came to an end abruptly in 2064 when the entire colony blew up due to a nuclear weapon which had been transferred to the planet for national security purposes, accidentally detonating, ending all the fun. Eventually, epic space colonies evolved into super sweet orbiting centers of kindness and understanding. By the 2180s, several new orbiting space colonies called kind colonies were sent into orbit around various planets of our solar system. The kind colonies were launched and installed by Love Corp, a subsidiary of Orbsman's Corp. These orbiting space stations became centers of kindness where epic Earthlings could travel to in reusable biodegradable Orbsman orb pods at nearly the speed of light. A trip to Jupiter in 2181 takes no longer than a walk down the block to your local GME GameStop. Once inside one of Love Corp's orbiting Orbsman kind colonies, individuals are encouraged to check into their pleasure cells, where milk machines pump and stroke their bodies to the point of climax over 1 million times a day, thanks to an IV injection of hyper-potent patented Good Human juice. The Good Human Juice machine not only pleasures the recipient by adjusting the neurochemical profile of their mind to simulate feelings of accomplishment and goodwill towards others, but also deducts pleasure points from the user's bank account to pay for the electricity used to recycle urine and feces in the kind colony's latrine to be used as food for Orbsman Corp's employees. After long sessions hooked up to their milk machines, visitors to the kind colonies often begin long sessions on their Mimo TV triple play classic web portals, which are stationed throughout the colony. And this is where the cube's information leaves us off. Sponsored by Mimo TV and launched in 2244, the Cube's final volume of information reflects on the long, epic legacy of Mimo TV's triple play classic system in space, and how for centuries, epic science and space lovers have thoroughly enjoyed being a part of the Mimo TV family. It's certainly something to get excited about. Science is epic. Science has not only given us epic toys, but the knowledge to analyze and understand the universe in which we play with those toys. Your body is a useless meat bag, but with science, we understand that humans serve the purpose of shooting hot fluids and fertilizing beautiful Gaia Mother Earth, nourishing its epic plant life and worms long after you've ceased to exist and died with no purpose or meaning until the heat death of the universe. This is why it's important to be kind to others. In the future, many have finally understood what it means to be kind to others, and to our beautiful Earth, and why. For too long, we've ignored the future, and now with the rich and incredible information that the Weissman Cube contains, we are able to truly, as historians, get the full picture on humanity by examining the future events of human history. We have been obsessed with the past and the Earth for too long, and we must look to space, which is epic, for guidance. Science is also incredibly epic, and now, we need science, and science needs us! Like a beautiful, pure relationship. Sort of like the relationship we have between our doggos who bork and us. We are the epic doggos, and science is us, our leader and our master, who can and will train us correctly to adhere to a great human vision of epic spacing. Really does me a think. Today's video is sponsored by Mimo TV, your go-to place for your favorite TV shows and online games. Use promo code SkellyMimor when signing up for Mimo TV's new triple play classic online streaming service and gaming experience in March and receive 1% off your first month of Mimo TV VIP Premium.